Assalamu alaikum and good morning, my dear students. How are you all? All of you are fine, right? So I welcome all of you to today's biology class. So my dear students, in the previous class we learned about harmful microorganisms, right? What was harmful microorganisms? The microorganisms that is harmful to us. In what all ways? We have learned some examples like the diseases that caused by the microorganisms in animals, in plants and also in human beings. Right. So today we will be discussing another topic that is about food preservation techniques. Okay, that is food preservation technique. So in the last chapter you might have learned about the preservation and storage of food grains. Is it? So what about the food that we have in our home? For example, if you keep some bread for some days without using it, what will happen? What will happen? The microorganisms will attack, right? The bread will be spoiled by fungus. Okay. So what about the pickles? Your mother or your grandmother will be preparing pickles at your home, right? What about those pickles? Is it get spoiled faster or it will last for a long time? Of course, it will last for a long time, right? What is the reason behind it? So how can we preserve the food items for longer period? There are different methods to preserve the food items and to store it for long time. So in today's class, we will be learning about those preservation techniques or those preservation methods used to preserve the food items and also how to prevent the attack of microorganisms. Okay, so let's move into our topics in detail. First, we will discuss about the chemical methods in food preservation. So chemical methods mean simply using the chemicals for preserving the different food items. For examples, pickles can be preserved by using chemicals like salt and edible oils. So you might have seen your grandmothers and mothers while preparing the pickles and all, they will be adding salt and at last they will be adding edible oils on the top of that. This is a preservative method to prevent the attack of microorganisms and to preserve the food items. Next we have jams and squashes, and those can be preserved by adding some chemicals like sodium benzoate, sodium metabisulfate, etc. So these kind of chemicals used for preserving the food items are called preservatives. Is it? So the chemicals used for preserving the food items are called preservatives. The preservatives can be either natural or chemical or man-made. Okay, natural preservatives include the salt, sugars, edible oil, etc. And man-made include the chemicals like sodium benzoate, sodium metasulfate, etc. Okay. So this is about the chemical method of food preservation. Next one is salting. So we can use the salt to preserve the food items like fish, meat, amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. Okay, for preserving these kind of food items, we are using the common salt, the normal salt, and we can preserve these food items for longer period by using this method. Okay, it will prevent the growth of microbes. You might have seen this in your home that your mothers and all will be preserving the tamarind or raw mangoes, etc. by adding salt, right? And we will buy the salted fishes too. Is it? The next method of food preservation include by using sugar. So food items like jams, jellies, squashes, etc. can be preserved by using sugar solution. So the addition of sugar solution will reduce the moisture content and it will prevent the growth of bacteria in such food items. Okay, this is the method by how we will prevent the attack of microorganisms in food items like jams, jellies, squashes, etc. And next method is by using oil and vinegar. Addition of oil or vinegar will prevent the spoilage of pickles because the bacteria and all cannot live in such an environment containing this oil and vinegar. That's why we are adding oil, edible oils and vinegar to the pickles. Okay, and for vegetables, fruit, fish and meat are also often preserved by this method. You know that most of the we have canned food items, that is processed food items, they will be also preserved by these methods. Next one is heat and cold treatment. So heating the food items will kill the microbes. For example, we are boiling the milk before using it, right? That is to prevent the attack of microorganisms or to kill the bacteria present in it. Okay, so storing food items at low temperature prevent the growth of microbes. That's why we are preserving in the food items in the freezers. To keep the food items in the low temperatures, we are using the freezers to keep the food items and for preventing the growth of microorganisms. The frozen food items are examples for this. Okay, so next is the storage and packing. You might have seen the food items that are stored in airtight containers and also in airtight packs to prevent the attack of microorganisms. For example, packed jams, chips, then pickles, squashes, etc. will be packed in an airtight container to protect them from the microbes. Okay. Next one is pasteurization. Have you heard about pasteurization? Pasteurization is a preservative technique that comes under the heat treatment techniques. Okay, we just discussed about the heat treatment methods, right? So pasteurization will comes under that. Pasteurization include heating the milk to about 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilling. By doing this method, it will prevent the growth of microorganisms. So this process was discovered by Louis Pasteur, hence it is called pasteurization. By this method, we are preserving the milk. Okay, so pasteurized milk can be taken directly without boiling. Okay, we can consume the pasteurized milk without boiling it. So the most of the milk available in the markets are pasteurized milk. Okay. So this is all about the food preservation techniques in order to prevent the attack of microorganisms. So my dear students, in today's class we learned about the various preservation techniques. What are they? The chemical method, then by salting, by adding sugars, then by adding oil and vinegar, then by using cold and heat treatments. Then in that we learned about the pasteurization method discovered by a scientist called Louis Pasteur. Then also about the storage and packing of the food items, right? So I think all of you understood today's topics. That's all for today. We will meet in the next class. Okay, thank you.